Today is day 68 of the podcast, and I want to begin looking at what does possessing the land by request look like for believers. And I'm going to take us through some verses in John. Let's string them together and try to understand what the Lord is trying to teach us. So John 15, verses 7 and 8. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you. By this is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. Here's an urging to do two things: abide and then ask. And it's positioning us then as sons to do the Father's will and bear fruit. The second verse is from Hebrews chapter 4, verse 2, and it says, "For indeed we've had good news preached to us, just as they also, but the word they heard did not profit them, because it was not united by faith in those who heard." So there's a hearing and then a uniting it with us by faith, and there's fruit that's born. Let's read a little bit more in the book of John, but I want to read it to you from the Amplified Version. It helps us get a bigger perspective. So I want to read John 15, verses 15 and 16. And Jesus says this, "I don't call you servants or slaves any longer, for the servant does not know what his master is doing or working out. But I've called you my friends because I've made known to you everything that I've heard from my Father. I've revealed to you everything that I've learned from him. You have not chosen me, but I've chosen you and I've appointed you. I've planted you that you might go and bear fruit and keep on bearing, that your fruit may be lasting and that it may remain and abide, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, as presenting all that I am, he may give it to you." Jesus is teaching us the same way that he accomplished the Father's will on earth. This is the way he's trying to teach us to learn and lean into. And then this last portion in John 16, verse 22, reads this way, "So for the present you are also in sorrow, in distress and depressed. But I'll see you again, and then your hearts will rejoice, and no one can take you from your joy, your gladness, and your delight. And when that time comes, you'll ask nothing of me. You'll need to ask me no questions. I assure you most solemnly, I tell you that my Father will grant you whatever you ask in my name by presenting all that I am. Up to this time, you've not asked a single thing in my name, that is, presenting all that I am. But now ask and keep on asking and you'll receive, so that your joy and gladness may be full and complete. I've told you these things in parables, veiled language and allegories and dark sayings. The hour is now coming when I shall no longer speak to you in figures of speech, but I'll tell you about the Father in plain words and openly and without reserve. At that time you'll ask and pray in my name. And I'm not saying that I'll ask the Father on your behalf, for it will be unnecessary. For the Father himself tenderly loves you, because you've loved me and have believed that I came from the Father." There is a transition for us to come under the Father's authority, under the Father's will, and to cooperate on earth what the Father wants done through the life of the Son in his body now. Learning how to access this, learning how to believe, how to exercise authority and power is part of the lesson of possessing the land. So here's my question. What interrupts your confidence in voicing your requests to the Father?